What's up, Vortex Crystal Lifers? I'm back. So I felt compelled to do another video about Xxxtentacion and what's going on with what people are saying about Drake and how he's been called to the chambers, okay? For one, I feel like a lot of that is hype. I don't feel like this man is going to get himself caught up, especially after all that he's done for himself. But we don't really know what's going on. And I feel like one of those guys that was caught up in that murder is going to talk and bring out a lot of shit, okay? I feel like there's going to be more than just Drake involved, okay? There's going to be somebody else that's going to be involved in this, and I feel like Jaseh's soul is not going to rest until those that were involved are brought to justice, okay? It wasn't just a trigger man. It was something behind the scenes. I felt that the day that that boy died, okay? I also felt that they wanted to take money from him, which they did. They wanted to rob him. They were jealous. Yes, they were. Have they been watching him? Yes, they have. But I also feel like he had enemies outside of just what was around him, okay? It was people higher up in the industry that was really pissed off at him. It was words exchanged. It was a lot of shit going on behind the scenes, okay? I feel like Drake tried to work with Jaseh and it didn't pan out the way it should have, okay? We're gonna find out what these cards have to say, okay? I love this deck because this deck basically says the streets are talking, okay? And I feel like the streets have always did a lot of talking, all right? So let's go in and let's find out. Let's go in and let's find out.
To the bed where I sleep, don't give a fuck. Can't stop, unplug, feeling overwhelmed. I think I've had enough. Gotta find a way to get some energy. Gotta find someone who's a good friend of me.
Let's find out. Let's ask the ancestors what's happening. Let's let these cards fall out and tell us the truth about what's going on. Bring forth what's going on. Is there other people involved? Let's see what this card had to say. It just popped right out.
And it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear.
This right here tells me it's going to be a good outcome for Jaseh's family, okay? Justice is going to be served. It's going to be something that comes out. This card right here basically tells me that there's going to be a good celebration and a good outcome on Jaseh's case. But I need to find out if... Let me find out. Straighten these out real good. Let me find out if Drake has been involved. And a part of me, something inside of me is telling me no. Because I know damn well Drake is not that stupid to get involved and want to take somebody out, knowing that he had his whole career in front of him. I feel like they're just trying to drag this man in for a reason. They might just be trying to drag him. But I think Drake is going to push some nice lawyers up, and he's going to work his way up out of this. I feel like there's going to be another name that's going to come out. I also feel like this guy that got shot, that was part of the Migos. What's his name? I'm trying to think of his name. Takeoff, that's it. I don't feel like Takeoff had anything to do with none of that. I feel like maybe, but for some reason I don't feel like that murder was connected to what happened with Jaseh. I feel like that was some karmic shit, okay? I feel like somebody around Takeoff might have had something to do with what happened to Jaseh, but let's see what the cards have to say. Uh-oh. All right. Somebody with a criminal background definitely had something to do with what happened to Jaseh. And I also feel like there was a woman that kind of was the bridge to what happened to Jaseh. I feel like this woman was doing a lot of talking. I feel like this woman was going back and forth. I feel like this was planned. I also feel like they had been planning it for a long time, and it was people that was close to Jaseh that knew this was going to take place, okay? This also has something to do with a woman, a few women, actually. Look at that. This has something to do with somebody that was dealing with Jaseh, but at the same time, has something to do with somebody else that was in the industry, okay? That might have had their hand dabbling around in it, okay? It was a definite third party. Definitely a third party. Definitely a woman involved. Come on, cards, talk to me. Did Drake have something to do with this? Is that gonna come out? Is that gonna come out? Come on. Come on. Talk to me, cards. Come on. Uh-oh. Sometimes memories sneak out of my eyes and roll down my cheeks. So this right here tells me that there was somebody else involved that was around Drake. That tells me also that this was somebody that was tied to the industry that was around Drake. And I think they want Drake to talk. That's what I feel. I feel like this woman that had something to do with that was in a domestic violent relationship with Jaseh. Oh, it's going to be some shit coming out. Trust and believe that. There's going to be some shit. This person was also involved with drugs. Talk to me, talk to me. Okay. Look at that. That basically says maybe it won't work out. Maybe seeing if it does will be the best adventure ever. Something is telling me this is tied around some type of relationship or some type of female where it might have broke out. I remember Jaseh getting into a fight with the Migos. I remember that. And for some reason, I have a feeling it has something to do with a female. Some girl was tied in between these dudes and Jaseh. It wasn't just the music. Okay, I have a feeling that it was some broad that was tied in there too. It was a female tied in on something. Okay? It was a female tied in on something. It wasn't just it wasn't just no music shit. This wasn't just no music. Okay? Look at that. I believe that Drake and Jaseh might have communicated, but I believe that he probably wanted to talk to him one-on-one, and it got out of hand through social media. Okay? Look at that. Social media hack. I believe that a lot of the shit got twisted up in social media, and it made it look like Jaseh was blasting this dude on social media. And it made it look like, you know, because of the fact that he did have a big following on social media, that a lot of people was looking at his social media and taking it to it. They were twisting shit up. Okay? Twisting it up. Also, what I'm getting to with Jaseh is mental health issues. This is telling me a lot about mental health. Not just his health, but mental health issues as well. Okay? I know that he was going through a lot with his relationship with the girl. He was dealing with that. He did feel trapped in a relationship that he was dealing with. I know that. But also, I feel like there was other things, other people involved in this situation with Jaseh. It wasn't Drake. For some reason, I'm getting this has something to do with somebody else that probably was tied to Drake or knew Drake, but it wasn't Drake. It wasn't just Drake involved in this shit, okay? This has something to do with some kind of female. This is a female that's going to come out into this court case too. Come on. I'm going to grab my other cards too, y'all. I got another deck that I'm going to grab. I want y'all to hold that thought for a second. There's another deck here. Look at that. I love this deck. This is fire. These are my murder mystery oracle cards. Let's see what they have to say. I know they'll tell me something. And I have a funny feeling one of those dudes is going to do a lot of talking. He's going to talk about somebody paying him to do some shit. They got a little too greedy. And they talked about Jaseh basically making music that talked about his death, and he was chanting and bringing in vibrations and frequencies about his death. I think he knew, because people know when things are not right. People know when the energy is not right around them. People know. Jaseh was going through a lot of mental unbalance. But I believe that ran in his family as well, on his dad's side. And people do know that already. We know that already. But let's find out what's going on here. Let's talk about this murder mystery case here. Come on. All right, here we go. All right, this right here talks about surveillance cameras providing clues, okay? A lot of this stuff came out on cameras about what happened with Jaseh when he was in that store. When he was in that bike store, a lot of that came out as well. A lot of the stuff on the surveillance cameras on the outside, around the store, around the perimeter, should show what happened. They were able to get a lot of footage from those cameras, okay? We know about that part. Money may be involved. Now, when you look at that, you see it looks like it says money. It says money may be involved, but then money was involved when they took his money. But I'm also showing that this was an exchange of money, which means that they were paid to commit this crime, okay? They were paid, so somebody's gonna talk. There it is there where it says illegal activities played a role, okay? And legal activities played a role. All right, so this tells me that this was somebody that was involved in illegal activities outside of just what they did to him. It was other illegal activities that played a role. It was somebody bigger involved. This could have been murder for hire. Strange phenomena that I pick up is Jaseh still being around. A lot of psychics picked up on his energy when he passed. A lot of psychics picked up on his energy when he passed. Myself included. Other psychics picked up on a lot of energy from him when he passed. He was floating all around the universe. That's why when they say there's no such thing as death, that's true, because the energy still lingers. And to make what's wrong right, like that movie The Crow. That's what I feel here with Jaseh. He already knows who was involved and what happened to him. There was other crimes that was related, that linked. And for some reason, what I get is the fight that he had. Not only the fight that he had, but I also pick up there was other robberies that these guys also did prior to them robbing and killing Jaseh. There was other robberies involved. Okay? It wasn't just this robbery, it was other robberies involved. They've robbed other people prior to that. And the dude that's involved with them is going to do the talking and give all that information up. They said that this guy, they said that the victim was involved. Victim was engaged in unusual behavior prior to the crime. So to me, the unusual behavior, and if you see these two here, this is the arts. That's what this represents. And I would say more of him shaving his eyebrows all the way off, him going through the mental and the mania. I believe that Jaseh was going through a manic stage where he was manic. You know, he was going through just doing shit out of the ordinary, leaving with no security, not having no security around him, not listening to his mom, just doing shit on impulse. He was doing, had a lot of impulsive behavior prior to this happening to him. It was a lot of shit that he was doing that was crazy, making weird videos, just up all night, not going to sleep. I'm picking all that up too from him. And then it says right here, contamination of DNA may be influencing the case. That could be true. I believe that definitely could be true. And I believe that that's probably a weapon and some money, where some of the DNA evidence might be on a weapon and some money. The killers did have an item that belonged to the victim. They had his pouch with his money. They had that. They showed all that shit off on video. They had all that, but I believe that the contaminated DNA evidence is in the car. In Jaseh's car, and also the car that they were in, too. It says that the person that killed Jaseh has a pattern of a serial killer. So this tells me that they were robbing people prior to that. This just backs up everything that I said, that they were robbing people also prior to what they did to Jaseh. So this is not something that was brand new to them. They was already doing the shit before. Okay? Rage or extreme anger was a motive. That wasn't just it. It was jealousy. The anger was out of jealousy. The person that was angry was the person that paid them and put the money in their hand. They were pissed off. Okay? So that is one of the reasons why this shit happened the way it did. It's a lot that's going to come out in this case. But pay attention to these cards that I just read. It's more than Drake. Okay? It's more than Drake involved in this shit. Believe that. All right, y'all. I'm not going to stay on long. Peace. We'll be back.